What's been your experience as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner, trying to get a business up and running in the city?
Well, I did it once. I did it before with with my contracting business, and that's been a word of mouth business for 10 years, and I'm still working now. So I just in the area, I think it's more talking to individual people that make things happen more so than advertising and actually actively searching out people to help you out. I think just a little bit of advertising that we've gotten, and we had an article in the Weekender that was very helpful. Those are the things that are making people come to our group. Grab my coffee.
What type of fundraising activity?
Well, we haven't started yet because for fundraising we want to be a legal co-op, and that's our legal nonprofit, and that's what we're working on right now. We want to do that first, so we don't take a contribution from someone and then not have it legally be tax deductible for that person. We want to avoid that. So the nonprofit is the first thing we're working on before we do any sales or donations.
What are the sizes of the studios going to be?
What are the what?
The studios, individual studios.
Of the sizes?
Size.
They range in size. It's a whole floor. There's 8 different studios. They range in size from about an 8x9 room to a 12x15 room. The big room's mine. That's just how it happened. The remainder of the studios are good enough size that people should be able to work in them. And if they have size limitations, like if they're working on something really big, we just take them upstairs to where we have 1,500 square feet that's wide open, and go ahead and work what you got to work on there, and take it back down when you're done. So the size, I don't think there's any real limitations in the size. You have the full space.
And the individual people who rent these spaces will be decorating them and setting them up for their own use?
Yeah, anything goes. Whatever they want to work on in the studio is what they're working on in the studio. There's no restrictions to that.
And what is the cost going to be?
$100 a space.
$100
Per studio space, per
month?
Per month,
per month?
yes.
And so when you come in as a visitor, can you walk through all the space, or just the?
What we're going to do is when we have visitors, and it'll be by appointment only to begin with, is we want the studios to all be open so people can walk through and see what the artists are actually working on, see it in their space. A lot of times, when you take the art out of the context of the space that the studios, that the people are using, you get a completely different feel. Particularly in my work, where there's a lot of other things that are involved in one piece that I'm working on. If you see them, the 400 photographs that are on the wall next to the single one that I've chosen to show, it's a completely different feel than it is when you extract it from the studio space and plant it into a gallery. I've actually had problems in that in the past too, that my work doesn't show as well in the gallery as it does in the studio. So I'm glad to have a studio where people can take a look.
How are you going to compensate for the effective competition? I think the Art Center, King Street, their whole second floor was planned to be studio space as well.
Yeah, but they haven't got off the ground on that, and they don't. Their building size, I think, requires a sprinkler system, and I just don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. And I've been living in the city now, in Martinsburg for 7 years, 8 years. Well, me and Consuelo, we tried to get it going once before too, and the city shut us down. And it's been a challenge, to actually get a studio space available for us. I think I'll beat the Art Center.
Oh, it's a very different thing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, can I just comment from the art perspective? This is not a competitive situation. The more art you get, the better it is for everybody.
I agree.
And I think that some people may feel a little competitive at some point, but the more we can build up to a critical mass of artists in this area, the better off we'll all be. And I don't see a conflict between what he's doing, what the Art Center's doing, or what we're doing.
Yeah, no, and what was going on in the Art Center just didn't really it wasn't advantageous to me. There was no studio space available to me. There was no place for me to work. There was no regular shows. I wanted more of a feel of like one of those small DC galleries where people are walking around and taking a look at them on Fridays, and they get to see the work, different work once a month from a different person.
Like the torpedo cafe?
Yeah.
I don't understand about that. How can it be a tax-free situation if artists are selling their work?
Well, you can still be a nonprofit and make money.
And they, individual artists, will just sell their work and do their own accounting?
It would be a 40-60 split, generally, that's typical.
I
So
see.
40% of the cost of the sale of the artwork goes directly back to the nonprofit, and 60% goes to the artist. That money that we collect is used to pay for things like catering, like you're having now, to pay for the shows, to pay for hanging, to pay heating and utility bills that are going to be outrageous in that building. We don't even know if the heating system works. Did you ever get it working?
It does work.
It does work.
Oh, and matter of fact, you have 300 gallons of oil in the basement that was done, put there by mistake.
Really?
Yeah. But I never actually did it because we tied it all in.
Tied it all together. Yeah, we're going through and picking one at a time. I'm picking my battles right now. Heating and plumbing are on the bottom of my list right now.
At least the alarm system was in, that was huge and
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah, that worked. That works.
Have you worked with the Morgan Arts Council and some of the things that they've done with the Ice House to serve as a model for what you might do?
No, I haven't. I've been to the Ice House, and one of the things I'm really trying to avoid is in the Ice House you get a lot of craft, and craft is great. I think there's enough outlet for that right now that if you wanted to do that kind of work, that either you're well represented, particularly in the Ice House. There's a lot of really nice stuff that they produce, but what we're looking to do is fine art. That would be painting, sculpture, photography, multimedia, mixed media, but art for art's sake. Art is what we're shooting for in our space.
Sculpture?
Yeah, sculpture, fine art, pottery. I was a potter myself for my whole existence in art school, and the actual cost of running a studio like that is prohibitive if you're not in school. So we have a kiln. We have a small kiln that we're going to be using. One of our studio renters does do pottery, so we'll be set up for pottery. I have a dark room that we can set up, so we can have a black and white, real silver print dark room, which is becoming very rare.
You would have the equipment for printing.
I have the equipment for printing already. I also have, I shoot large format 4x5 real film, and that's an arcane process. At this point, everybody's going digital. I have a digital camera too, but it's not the same. It's not the same as the old prints, the old silver prints.
Yes, sir. John, if you were to help you move forward, what 3 things could the community do to help you make your project a success?
Well, first talk to the city. Get them to ease up.
Talk about what is the problem with the city?
They want buildings that were built 100 years ago to meet the current code. What needs to be done in the city is that needs to be erased. Buildings that are 100 years old should be able to meet the code that they met when they were built. There should be no grandfathering, and you should just be able to use the building as is. If that were the case, then Main Street would be full, and it's not. Every time somebody tries to put in something, they've got to jump through so many hoops with the city that it becomes almost to the point where you say, well, forget it, I'm going to take it out of town. And I don't want to take it out of town. I want to be able to walk out of my front door, which is on Race Street, walk over to my gallery, walk downtown, see things going on, see gallery spaces or clothing stores or boutiques, BMX stores, not porno stores and convenience stores. I like to see the small business flourish throughout, and I think the city's giving them too much of a problem. That'd be number 1. Number 2 would be someone to take a look at this nonprofit and really explain it to me so that we don't make any mistakes on it. I want the nonprofit to go smoothly. And number 3 is more artists. We could use 4 more artists, maybe 5. Those are my 3.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, John, I appreciate it.
Thank you.